Hi friends, welcome to another video series for R Makes Easy. In this video, I am going to show you how to extract the result from the linear regression model with how to use the residual diagnosis and bracket for the p-value. First of all, I have to run the required library for the today session. Let's go to the first function. In this function, we'll work on the p-value and the coefficient value. According to the p-value, the star mark will be added to the coefficient value. If the p-value is less than 1%, then there will be 3 star in coefficient. If the p-value is greater than 1% but less than 5%, then there will be 2 star added in the coefficient value. If the p-value is less than 1% but greater than 5% level of significance, then 1 star will be added in the coefficient value. And at last, we have to add a square bracket in between the p-value. Okay, so for this we have to use here two vector. One vector is for coefficient and another vector is for p-value. Just run this and combine this with column and just rename the row name and column name and see the result x. Okay, so this indicates the result of x. There is two column only. First column is the coefficient and second column is the p-value. For the convenience point of view, I have added here row number 1. First row is for intercept and rest of the rows show the independent variable for a regression. Suppose. Okay, so what will be next? Next we have to write a function for this. What we are going to do here? We have to going to do here with respect to the p-value column, we have to change the value of the coefficient column. Here the p-value is greater than 10%. It means there is not necessary to adding any star mark in the coefficient. Okay, but in this case the p-value is less than 1% level of significance. So we have to add 3 star in 0.450. Okay, so what we are going to do? Just go to the function. Here this is the function name. The function name is bracket and write function. Then inside the bracket we have to put here x. Remember one thing, whenever we are going to put the input in this function, the x value should be contain two column. Okay, and first column should be the coefficient and second column should be the p-value. Okay, so we have to change the first column. Change the first column with respect to the second column. So I have write here x, then start the square bracket. Square bracket indicate the positional value. The first portion of inside the square bracket is blank. It means all the row value and this is 1. It means we are going to change the value of first column and all row from the x data frame. Okay, so we are using here if else function. First we have to put the if else, then start the bracket, then I have to put here the condition. Okay, so I am putting here the condition if second column of x value is less than equivalent to 0.01, it means 1%, then we can paste at the first column of x value. We can paste at the first column of the x value, paste 0, the original value of x including 3 star, the original value of x including 3 star. Suppose we are using here paste function. Actually, what is the work of the paste function? It can combine more than 2 characters. Okay, so in this case it will going to combine the first column value including the star mark if the second column p value is less than 1%. If it is not happened, then it will be store the same value of the first column of the x series. Okay, just run this and check this. It find that if the p value is less than 1%, then it put 3 star for the coefficient value. Okay, the process will be repeat again. In the second stage we are going to assign 2 star. It means for the 5% level of significance, and we are going to run the same process except the condition. Here the condition is if the second column of x series is less than equivalent to 5%, and this function is known as the and second column of the x value is greater than 1%, then we can paste the x value, I mean first column of the x value including 2 star, otherwise it will be the general value of the first column. Just run this and you can see here where the value is in between 1% and 5%, there will be 2 star will be added here. In the second case, this is the one case, and the last two cases also show the example of the 5% level of significance. In the next step, we are going to do the same process, but the condition will be somewhat changed. Here the condition is the first column of the x value will be replaced if the second column of x value is less than equivalent to 0.1%. It means less than 10%. And here we are putting also, and the second column of the x value, the second column of the x value again greater than the 5%. Then we are going to paste here the first column of the x value including 1 star. The first column of the x value including 1 star. If this condition is not work, then it will be stored the same result for the first column of the x series. Just run this. In this case, the p value is 0.56. It means it is more than 5% but less than 10%, and it will be assigned 1 star for the coefficient value. Okay, and the last stage is we have to add a square bracket for the second column. We have to add a square bracket for the second column. So here the second column, so we have to put here the second column. The second column of the x value is here x square bracket all row and second column. Then we are going to paste, we are using paste, then start point of the bracket, this is a character, so we have to put inside the inverted comma. Then we have to put the original value of the second column, then we have to put the closing bracket. Okay, then run this and you can find there is the bracket is already added in case of p value. Okay, you can find all this coefficient value including the p value showing as character. We know these are character, but the appearance we can change by using the data.frame. So here we can use args.data.frame. Okay, by running this we can find this is looks pretty good. So in case of return for the function, we have at the end of the function we have to return the output. Actually our output is the x and I want to return the output as a data frame. Actually up to here this is a matrix, this is a in the form of matrix, then we are going to convert the matrix form into data frame. Okay, so I have used here args.data.frame inside the bracket x, and this will be my final result for the function of bracket. Okay, just run from here to here. The function is ready and we need to go for the test of this function. So before testing this function we have to run again the x value. Just run from here to here because within the analysis we have changed the x value. So right now the x value is changed and we can use here bracket and inside the bracket x. Okay, and you can find, you can put any number, but remember one thing, the x should be contain two column and first column should be your coefficient and second column should be your p value, right? After completing this first function we have to go to the second function. The second function is basically relating to the diagnosis test, residual diagnosis test. What is the meaning of residual diagnosis test? After running the regression model, we have to test whether our model is better performed or not. For that purpose, we have to select the residual. If the residual have no autocorrelation, if the residual have no heteroscedasticity, and if the residual are normally distributed, then only we can say our model is perfectly fitted. Okay, for this purpose, first of all we have to identify the residual series. Okay, after identifying the residual series, then only we can use that residual diagnosis. Suppose I am using here some random data for the residual series and stored with the name of standard residual. I have set here the seed and run this. And here the standardized residual is like this. We can see here, this is the standardized residual. We can plot the standardized residual also. Just put your plot. And you can see this is the plot of the standardized residual. Actually the residual will be plot like this. Here the number of observation is very low. That's why this look like this. Before going to writing this function, we have to know about some other function which are actually used in this function. So for the purpose of normality test, we are using here Jarque test. It means Jarque.Bera.test is the function code, and we can write Jarque.Bera.test, and inside the bracket we can put the standardized residual series and we can run this. The result of Jarque test show the chi-square value, degree of freedom and p-value. Now our work is to extract those value. Suppose example chi-square test value and the p-value. Okay, so how can we extract this value? So we can put here name and start the bracket and close this bracket. Just run this and you can find inside this function, inside the function of Jarque.Bera.test, there are 5 elements are available. One is statistics, second is parameter, p-value, methods, and data.name. You can also find this name in other way. Suppose you can write here structure, just run this, and you can find there is 5 lists available. First list is show the statistics, second is the parameter, then all these things. Okay, so it indicate we can copy from this to this. This is the dollar sign and this is the statistics. So I can write here, just write here again. Then we can put the dollar sign. Then we can write here statistics, just copy and paste here. And you can find this is the statistics value of the J-Archivera test. And actually the number of digit after the decimal point is very large. So we can reduce this number of point by using round function. So use round function. At the end of the code we have to put comma, and we want to round this value up to 4 digit. Then we can run this, and you can find this is already rounded up to 4 digits. Instead of round function we can use the scientific function. So this will be scientific, and you can run this. This will be show the same result, but scientific function have some more importance as compared to the round function. Suppose we can say round, and inside the bracket we can use 0.5, and I want to round this up to 3 digit. Just run this, and the result will show you 0. Instead of round we can use your sin if, and just run this, and it will be show with a scientific term. Okay, so this will be better for the p-value. Okay, so this is the example of how to extract the statistics value. In the same way we can extract the p-value. Just run this, and you find that there is a dollar sign and p-value. So just copy from here to here to identify this, and just put in this place. Okay, and just run this, and you can find out there is the p-value. The same process also continue for the ARCH test and the autocorrelation test. For the ARCH test there is one additional item we have to use. This is known as your lag. Okay, for the purpose of ARCH test we can use ARCH test. Then first element should be your standardized residual, and the second element with your lag. The lag may be 1, 2, 3 according to your preference. Okay, just run this, and this will show you the result of ARCH test. The first element is your chi-square value, second is degree of freedom, then p-value. How can we find this? We can use here the same process, structure or name. I will recommend you to use the structure because it will show how actually the result is structured inside the function, and you can find the same way as in case of the J-Archivera test. For the purpose of autocorrelation test, you can use the box statistics. For the box statistics, what happened? Just copy this and go to the console, question mark, control V, then run this, and go to the help window. It indicate this is the box test, and first element is x. X means here the residual or any series. Second element is lag. You can use your lag 1, lag 2, lag 3 as per your preference. Then third one is your types. It indicate which type of autocorrelation test you want to do. First one is box test, then second one is Lodgemark test. I am here using the Lodgemark test, so I use here LJUNG. You can use LJUNG. Okay, so just run this, and this is the result of Lodgemark test. You can also extract the result in the same way. You can write your structure and put the bracket at the end, then run this. You can find this also show the same way, statistics, parameters, p-value, and data and names. Okay, so in this way we can extract the result from the J-Archivera test, ArchLM test, and Lodgemark Q statistics test. Okay, so in case of here we use the square residual, and you can also remove the square residual to run. The autocorrelation in original series indicate the linear relationship within the residual series, while the result of square residual series is indicate the non-linear relationship or the non-linear association in between the residual series. Okay, and in the second way we can say that when we use the autocorrelation in square residual series, it is approximately similar to the ArchLM test. Clear? So go to the function right now. So you have to write the function name. I have put here the function name as resi.diagno. okay, and write your function, and my input is standardized. Remember one thing, when you will going to use this function, I mean residigo, you have to confirm that this series should be a single series. This should be a single series. So start the curly bracket, then write your matrix, which matrix contain all these element name. I mean the name of the Jar-Cuvera test, RLM test, autocorrelation test, and the Q statistics test. Okay, so just run this matrix, and this is the column name of the matrix, and you can see this matrix contains some of the row and some of the column. Print this matrix, and you find these are the name of this matrix and these are the row of this matrix. So just transpose this matrix once, and it will be shown in a good way. Okay, so first column will be coefficient and second column will be p-value, and these are the row value. First one will be the Jar-Cuvera value, second one RLM with first leg, second leg, third leg, fourth leg, then Q statistics for first leg, second leg, fourth, third leg, fourth leg, and thus Q square statistics. Q square statistics is the autocorrelation result with square residual. Okay, after completing this matrix, we need to store the p-value and the coefficient value with their respective place. Okay, so what I have done here, I just identify first row, first column, first row, first column. Just run M again here. Okay, the first row, first column, the first row and first column, this will be the coefficient of a Jar-Cuvera test. This will be the coefficient of Jar-Cuvera test. So for first row, first column, I have put here or assigned here the first coefficient, I mean statistics value of the Jar-Cuvera test. From here to here, this is the statistics value of the Jar-Cuvera test. For the purpose of rounding, I have used your SINIF and up to 3 digits. And the same way for the second, suppose we are going to talk about the second value, the first column but second row, I mean second row, first column. This indicate M, second row, first column. The second row, first column values show the p-value of the Jar-Cuvera test. So I have do the same thing, not more than that. Here the Jar-Cuvera test of the residual, and this is the p-value, and again it will round up to 3 digit. Okay, in the same way we can store all other elements also. Suppose we are talking about the arch test. So second, this position known as, this is the position of row 1 and column 2. The row 1, column 2 show the RLM test with lag 1. So M is the matrix row 1, first row and second column, and it will show the arch test of the standardized residual with lag 1, and this is your statistics value. And the same way we can use this place. This place indicate the second row and second column, and the second row and second column show the p-value of RLM test. Clear? So for this we can use, this is the second row and second column, and here I have used the same condition, same process, but here instead of statistics this is indicate your p-value. Okay, and in the same way you can run or you can store all these value. Suppose we can say that the RLM test for the second leg, third leg, fourth leg, Lodgman Q statistics result for first leg, second leg, third leg, fourth leg, and respectively we have complete all. After assigning the value of matrix to their respective place, so we have to run this just from here to here. Remember one thing, I have run from first row, first column to first row, last column. Okay, control enter, and we can see here actually how the M is likes. So right now M is show in a there is 2 row and number of columns, but when we use brackets function, we can use the bracket function if there is 2 column. So you have to transpose this matrix. Okay, so here what I do, I have done here transpose the M matrix. I have used the bracket function. Inside the bracket function I have used here transpose of M matrix. Okay, so just run from this to this, and we can see how the M is looks like. And you can see here the M matrix show the all the statistics value and the p value for the residual diagnosis, and the coefficient value are assigned or and the coefficient value are showing with star, and the p value is bounded with the bracket. Okay, I hope you understand these things. And at the end of this function we have to return the result. So I have used here return and m, and I'm going to run this function. I'm going to run this function. Just go to the first line of the function and use control enter. Okay, it's complete. For this test of the residual diagnosis, we can use the resid.diago. This is the name of the function, and inside the function we have to use the standardized residual. Just run this and you can find this result. Now the work is we have to use any type of regression. First of all, we have to identify the residual series. After identifying the residual series, we can use the resid.diago, and inside the bracket we can use the series name or the residual series name that will be provide you the result of residual diagnosis. Remember one thing, before running the residual diagnosis we have to run the bracket function, because bracket function are again used inside the residual diagnosis function. So go to the next session. So this is the section we have to set the seed first, and for the regression we have to use some dependent variable and some independent variable. Here I am going to use y as the dependent variable and x as the independent variable, and I am going to set here 500 random number for y, and here I am going to use a data.frame, and here first column is your rainfall and second column is your fertilizer. Just run this and we can see also the head of the y and head of the x series. This is the head of the y series and this is the head of the x series. Head of the x series show that there is a two column. First column is rain, second column is the. After completing data identification, we have to go to the next step, and before going to writing the function, I am going to change or convert the data frame into matrix. It will be more convenience for running the regression model. So I use here arch.matrix and inside the bracket x. Again this value is stored inside the x vector or x name. Just run this, control enter. For the linear regression we can use lm. Lm indicate the linear regression. This is the function code lm, and inside the lm what we have to do, just you can put lm and you can put the dependent variable. Here the dependent variable is y, and put this sign, and the independent variable is x. Just run this. You can find this is the coefficient value. For the second is the independent variable, first independent variable rainfall, then the second independent variable fertilizer. This show only the coefficient result. Okay, to identify the p value we have to do something extra. We have to use your summary and close this. Okay, and run this. Run this, and you can find there is large number of options or large number of result you can find. It indicates first the residual diagnosis. It means what is the minimum value of residual, first quantile, median, third quantile, and maximum value of the residual. And the second step you can find the coefficient. This indicates first column the coefficient value, second is the standard error, then t value, then p value. Actually our requirement is the p value and the estimated coefficient value. It is show the residual standard error. This is the residual standard error, degree of freedom, and r square value, and the adjusted r square value. At the end of this result, it is show the result of ANOVA, and it is show the f statistics value. This is the statistics value of f with the 2 degree of freedom. First degree of freedom is 2 and second is a 497, and respective p value. Okay, so how can we extract all this result and how can we arrange this result with a data frame or matrix? So first of all, we are going to store this function with name f1. This is simply lm, y dependent variable, x independent variable, and we are going to store this inside the f1. And we can check here also what are the different elements are stored inside the f1 by using the name function. Just write here names, then you can put here f1 because f1 is our function name. Just run this. You can find there are large number of information available. If you put coefficient, then you can extract the coefficient value. If you put residual, then you can extract the residual value in the same way. Suppose you want to know the coefficient value, sir. What I have to do? Actually, these are the elements are stored inside the f1 function. So we can write here f1 and put the dollar sign. Okay, then we can put the coefficient. Just push the tab, it will show the coefficient value. In the same way, if you want to extract the fitted value, then put the F1 $, and just come to the fitted value, then enter. It will show the fitted value for the regression model. So this is the simple way, but we are going to use the summary result, then use the summary of F1, and the summary of F1 will be stored in the fit1. Okay, and just run the same function name, then fit1. Okay, so run this, and you can find there are some element also there, term, residuals, coefficient, then sigma. This is the standard deviation of the residual, degree of freedom, r square, adjusted r square, f statistic 6. So if you want to extend the r square, just write here fit1 and put the $, then come to the r square, then enter. This is the value of r square. Okay, if you want to customize the r square value, then you can use the sin if. Just go to the first line, write here sin if. Okay, then start the bracket, then at the end put comma and put here 4 digit and run this, and you can find this is the actually what happened in case of sin if, they will identify the digit. So this is your 4 digit. Okay, just you can change this by up to 2 digit. So run this and it will be reduced to 2 digits. Okay, in the same way you can also identify the coefficient value. So just write here fit1, then put the $, then come to the coefficient, just put enter. It will show the coefficient value of all these things. If we want to identify or extract only the first column and the last column, then we can use the same syntax, but we have to put the positional value here. I want to extract all the row, so for the all the row this is nil, and for first and last column I have to use C, then I can use first 1 and comma then 4. Just run this and you can find it will show only the estimate value and the p value. If you want to round up the coefficient value, then you can use the round up function for this. So just I am going to copy from here to here. Okay, so I am writing a round, then inside the round we can put here the value, then we can put 4 for the rounding the digit up to 4, then put enter. Then it will be shown in a proper way. We can use the ANOVA function to extract the p value and the f value from the regression. So we can use here ANOVA. For the function code for the ANOVA is AOV, and inside the AOV we can write here f1. Okay, just run this and you can find this is the result of ANOVA, and actually the f value is not showing here, so we can use the summary here. Okay, then start the bracket, this will be A and close it, just run this and you can find this is the result, and in a systematic way it indicates the degree of freedom, f statistics and p value result. Okay, but this is in a matrix form. We can convert the list form. We can convert the list from in a vector by using onList. Just we can use here onList. Okay, and see what happened. Run this. It will convert the list or all these element into a vector. And remember one thing, this one, the name where f value 1, it indicates the f value, and where the p value 1, it indicates the p value result. Okay, and the f value result also we can extract from the f1 instead of ANOVA function. Okay, so what happened, for extracting the p value we can use from here to here. Suppose we are going to store from here to, suppose we are going to store the ANOVA result with this name, just put the assign symbol and run. We can see the result. Okay, and right now our target is to identify or extract the p value. The p value is stored here. Okay, So storage here means the name of this point is this. Okay, so we can copy this name and we can use here to extract this. Remember one thing, this is the character, so we have to put the character. So for extracting anything we have to use the square bracket. Inside the square bracket we can use comma, then we can use the name, then run this, and you can find this is the p-value. Then we can extract the p-value by using this name. Okay, just copy the whole line, then put the name instead of p-value. Okay, and there is a gap. I think this will not work perfectly. Okay, but this line indicate the p-value of the f statistics, while this line indicate the coefficient of the f statistics. Okay, so we can combine these two lines. The first one is your coefficient and second one is your p-value. So we can use cbind for the combine purpose. You can use tab, and for first position we have to put here the coefficient value. Okay, and the second position we have to put the p-value. Right, just run this. You can see this is a matrix and it have two columns. First one is the coefficient and second one is your p-value. And now we can use the bracket to assign the star mark. But remember one thing, the number of digit is here is very large, so you have to reduce the number of digit first. So we can use a round and start the bracket, and end of this we can put the number of digit. Okay, so this is up to 3 digit, and after rounding this we can use, you can round inside the bracket also, or you can round outside the bracket. Suppose you want to round each and every element, then it's okay. Then you have to put here round and comma the digit, then here also again you have to put the round or sign it, then comma and the digit. Okay, after rounding we can use the bracket function. At the end just close the bracket, just run this, and you can find the p-value is blocked by the square, and there is no star mark in the f statistics because the p-value is more than 10%. Okay, and the same work I have done in f statistics also. First of all, I have extracted the f statistics. Here something is different. I have extracted the f value from the fit 1. Actually what I have done here, I have stored the only ANOVA result in the sum test 1. Then I can extract the p-value result by the help of this line. Okay, but I have used the f statistics from fit 1. Okay, it means, so just go to the fit function first. So use name, then write your fit 1. Okay, so run this, and you can find your f statistics value is here also given. You can extract the f statistics value from here also. So you can just copy from here to here, and you can write here fit 1 and the dollar sign. After dollar sign you can put here f statistics. Okay, and you can also extract the f statistics value from here. Okay, there is no problem, and you can extract the f statistics value from the sum test 1 or from the test 1 at dollar sign and statistics. Okay, so there is no issue, you can extract from anywhere. So this is your the f statistics value, and this is the p value of the f statistics. Okay, and here I have done the sign-in function inside the cbind and combine this. I am using here combine. After combining this function, I have used your bracket function to ensure the star mark and bracket for the p value. Okay, I'm just after completing this function, we have to rename the row name and column name of f. Just run this. You can find here, see the f. What is the f actually? F, there is no column name and row name. So we can assign here the column name for the f statistics, and for the column name there is two columns. First is the f statistics and second is the p value. For the row name of f, we are using here f statistics because there is one row only. Okay, so we can run this, and you can see this is the column name and row name for the f statistics. Okay, so after completing this section, we have to go forward for the extraction of the r square value, and we can extract the r square value by using the fit function. just we can write here feed 1, then put the dollar sign, then come to the r square. R square means, okay, just run this. This is the r square value, and the same way we can write here feed 1, then dollar sign, then we can go to the adjusted r square value. Okay, just enter and control enter. So this is the r square value and this is the adjusted r square value. We can combine the r square value and adjusted r square value. Just put here comma and put here r bind. Okay, start the bracket, then end the bracket, press the delayed to come into one area, just run this and it will show you this is r bind. First one is the name. We can assign the name here. Suppose I want to store this as, okay, and just run this and rename this, and we can names, this is the row names of double S, and you can put here first one is the r square and second one is the adjusted r square. You can put here r square, you can copy from here to here and paste here, and the second also you can put here, just 1 minute, adjusted r square, you can put here adj. Okay, just run this and you can see the result of adjusted r square and r square. I have done the same process here. I have extracted the r square value and adjusted r square value, and it will be stored inside r. Okay, so run this and you can see the value of r here. This is the r value. Then I can rename this from here to here. I have renamed all these things. Okay, just run this. I have renamed r again, and we can see the r. This is the r square and this is the adjusted r square. Then I have to add another column here because this is one column. Okay, but the coefficient matrix indicate two columns. There is one is coefficient column and another is p-value column. So it will be more convenient to add if the number of row and number of column will be similar. Okay, so that's why I have to add here another column. What I have done, I have to use C bind because I want to add a column here. Okay, I want to use here C bind, or inside the C bind, first one is your R and second one will be your NA. So run from here to here. Run this and see what is the difference. Okay, this will be the difference. This is the r square adjusted r square, but the second column value is NA. Okay, it's okay. So after extracting the r square value, we have to go for the Durbin-Watson test. Actually, Durbin-Watson test is used to test the autocorrelation or heteroscedasticity in the series, basically for the autocorrelation purpose. For the Durbin-Watson test, we have to use DW test. This is the function for the autocorrelation test, and I have used inside this the fit value. I mean f1. This is the function value, and just run this, and you can see the result also by clicking on WD, and this is the result. And from this result, in the same way as we have extracted the result in previously, we can extract the result of Durbin-Watson value and the respective p value by using name. We can use your name. Okay, then for Durbin-Watson DW and press enter. The statistics value here given and the p value here given. So for the statistics we can use WD or DW, start the dollar sign, and for the statistics just put enter. This will be your statistics value. Okay, just store the statistics value here from here to here. Sorry, just store the statistics value here and again store the p value here and combine. This is the C bind. The C bind indicate the column bind. Okay, this is the column bind function. After binding this, we can round off these things again. So I have round off up to 3 digit. Okay, after round off, we can use the bracket function. See one thing, inside the bracket function there is 2 column. Okay, then it will be good. We can run this. Clear? So we can see the DW. This is the DW, and after completing this, we can rename the row and column. The column name will be estimated statistics or the coefficient or p-value, and this will be the WD. So you can use here column names by changing the column names. After completing these things, we have to identify or extract the value of BIC. Remember one thing, the BIC can be extracted from the fit 1 or F1. So we can extract BIC F1. This will be the BIC value. So BIC value should have two columns. That's why I have used here C bind. Then inside this, first one is BIC, second is your NA. So you can run this from here to here, and this will be show you two column, but there is one row. Okay, and you can round off here, otherwise you can sign if here. So I round off here, and after round off I can use the row name. Here the row name is nil because we need the row name, so I have used your row name is your BIC, and you can find what is the BIC. The BIC is the this one, row name is BIC, first one is the BIC value, second one is NA. Okay, after completing the BIC value, let's go for the coefficient value. How to extract the coefficient value? Already we have discussed about the coefficient value. The coefficient can be extracted from the fit 1, and you can write here fit 1, then $sign, then coefficient. After here to here, you can extract the full page of coefficient value or the coefficient table. If you want to first and last column only, then we can use the square bracket again. So from here to here, we use the square bracket. First one is all row, then first row and first column and second column. We can use this. Okay. After extracting this, we can use sin if function to round off all this coefficient value. Up to here, we can round up the coefficient value. After round up, we can use the bracket function to assign the star mark. Okay, or bracket for the p value. I have used the same thing. I have used here bracket, and this is the result. Actually, there is no value less than 1%. That's why there is no star mark showing here. Clear? After completing this, there is one remaining work, residual diagnosis. So how can we extract the residual diagnosis? Before going to extract the residual diagnosis, we have to extract the residual first. So how to extract the residual? Just use the same process, name of F1, then enter. You can find there is residual in the second position, and you can use here name, F1, then put the $, then go to the residual, enter, and put enter. This is your residual, and you can store this residual in any name. Okay, suppose here in my example I have stored the residual in receipt. Just put the assign sign, and it will be stored inside the receipt. Okay, after storing this, we are going to use the function which we have already written in the above section, receipt.diagnose. It is required only one vector series. Okay, so here the receipt is stored, residual is stored in the receipt, and we can use the diagnosis by using the receipt.diagnose. So just run this and see the result inside the diagnose. So this is the result of residual diagnosis. Okay, actually it work in this way. We can write a D assign symbol, then S assign symbol, then A, then assign symbol, and you can put here 100. Okay, just run this, and you can find all this result. 100 is assigned to all these three vector. You can put here D to know this result. You can put here S, that will be the same. You can put here A, that will be the same. And in the same way, after completing this, we can change the column name of each and every result. So just run this, just run the coefficient first, residual diagnosis again, then all this name. Then I am going to row bind. I am going to bind all these things. Suppose first of all we need to know what is the structure of all these results. So this is the first structure. Then for the F, we can see here, this is the same way. For the R, we can see this is the result. For Darwin-Watson test, this is the result. Diagnosis, this is the result. And for the last BIC value, this will be the result. See these things. So we have to eliminate this element, and we have to row bind all these things. That's why the coefficient will be first, then F statistics, then R squared, then Darwin-Watson, then diagnosis, then the BIC value. Okay, so I have to use the row bind function here. Row bind, first one is coefficient F, R, then Darwin-Watson test, then diagnosis, then BIC value, then K. K is the, and all the results are stored in the K vector. So just run this, and you can see the k value by using this. Okay, this is the, if you want to store the result of this coefficient, then you can use write the table. So you can write the table, then first element should be the value which we want to store it. So first one is your capital K, second one is your the file name. The file name should be inside the character vector. Okay, so we can write here regression result. Okay, I want to store this in a CSV file. After completing this, you can use the separation point and we can separate this with comma. Okay, so run this. After completing this, you can go to the document folder and you can find this is the regression result. So open this.